I do think that Love is going to come on a hell of a lot for that run.
Is Stradivarius the force of old?
The main thing that we'll discuss about here, Jack, is Palace Pier and Poetic Flare.
Primo Baccio is still the best mile filly in the country.
Lots of people slating the ride aboard Stradivarius.
It's now 66 to 1, I think, is a huge price.
Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our Royal Ascot review, and it's been a hell of a week and we had a great weekend of sport. Jon Rahm winning the golf, we had Royal Ascot, which was so great, and unfortunately we had one of the worst footballing performances from England I think I've ever seen, Jack. It wasn't great, was it?
No, it wasn't, but we want to finish second anyway. We'll take Poland in the next round. There we go.
Oh, we'll have to see, but I think we've got no hope the Italians are probably going to go and win it. But we're going to be looking back at the 5 days of Royal Ascot, which was a cracking 5 days action. Before we get into it, our giveaway is still live. I did mention it in our Royal Ascot previews that our giveaway will run up until our Coral Eclipse preview. So you've got a couple of, I think it's about 10 days to get involved with that, so you can go and retweet the tweet that's pinned at the top of our Twitter page, give us a follow and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I think it's like 68% of people who watch our videos aren't actually subscribed.
It's not
I know, why? If you're watching this right now, just pause it, click the button, come back on. It's simple as that. But thanks so much for the support anyway from everyone who has subscribed. We're loving doing these videos, and the more that you support us, the more we're going to be putting these videos to you guys. We've got plenty coming your way over the next month, but we'll get into the action, and before we discuss the racing, let's just discuss our top 3 moments. I think I'll kick things off with our guests that we had on the preview, and that's Oisin Murphy, the top jockey at the meeting. So well deserved. It really was. He had some excellent rides. Unfortunately, Masakela, the one that he thought would come in, didn't quite do it, but he had 5 winners, and he was so dominant during the meeting, Jack, wasn't he?
It was just brilliant to see, wasn't it? I love how he said his handicaps were all kind of much of a muchness, and he absolutely banged in a few. Of course, Fox's Tails, Perotto as well. It was great to see. I mean, especially on the juveniles as well. His ride on Berkshire Shadow, I thought, was absolutely exceptional.
Yeah.
It's great to see his on-board footage as well when he'd secured it on Fox's Tails at the end. But yeah, I mean, he's done himself proud. I mean, it's the most eventful jockey, Royal Ascot, I think, for a jockey. Of course, he had what he had with Dragon Symbol and whatnot. I mean, it could have been a lot more, and yeah, brilliant stuff.
We'll move on to Dragon Symbol later on in the video, but what was your top moment of the meeting away from sort of the whole racing? What was the big moment that you enjoyed the most?
For me, it had to be Wonderful Tonight, winning the Hardwick. I mean, she did it in some style, didn't she? I mean, she was apparently only 85% fit. She was going to need the run, and I mean, what a performance. I mean, she's kind of just added some assets to her armoury, which she didn't have. I mean, now she can be settled further back in the pack. She doesn't have to make call, and I mean, now you're kind of leaving the Ballydor battalion and whatnot guessing, especially in terms of the Arc, where she's going to be going. I mean, the Arc Dream is definitely still alive. I mean, she will need the testing ground, but when we get to that time in France, it could be there. But I mean, she did everything she asked. She quickened away so nicely at the 2 furlong pole. Even William Buick said he didn't think she had it in her, and I mean, there's only one way, and that's up from there, and she's a serious Arc candidate now.
That's it, and it was great to see David Menusia have his first Royal Ascot winner. Do check out the video. It is, we can put it in the description of this video, but Jack did a great video at David Menusia, so it's great to go and watch that. He's a fantastic guy and a fantastic trainer, and we wish him all the best going to the Arc with Wonderful Tonight. My second moment that I really liked was the amount of first time winning jockeys that we had at the meeting. The likes of Laura Pearson, Marco Gianni, Shane Kelly. I think that was a bit overdue, that one, but Hector Crouch. There were so many that we could go through first time winners. It's great seeing some of the young up and coming jockeys showing themselves up at the big meeting, but it's really great to see, and I'm sure that we're going to see some big careers, especially from the likes of Marco Gianni and Laura Pearson. I'm a big fan of both of those, so looking forward to them. Jack, number 2, what was your second best moment?
It has to be Poetic Flare in the St James's Palace. It was just scintillating, wasn't it? I mean, it was the second fastest time in the race's history since Barney Roy in 2017. That was on firm going, and there was about a length difference. I mean, the way he travelled up round the bend and then kicked away from the 2 furlong pole, and I mean, from 2 furlongs to the line, he just piled on the pressure, didn't relent, finished at a scintillating speed. And I mean, if you take his like end sectionals compared to the whole time of the race, it was just a scintillating performance. He's definitely put himself up there with Palace Pier, and the thought of them two meeting in the Sussex Stakes, I'm just salivating at the thought of it.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracking race. We'll probably discuss that again in a second. And my third moment, a lot of my sort of big moments have come away from the racing. I will discuss the racing in a second, but one of the best things about the meeting was having a crowd there. I mean, 12,000 people, I think Ascot did so well. Hopefully we're going to see that at the Glorious Goodwood meeting as well. A big crowd. That's exactly what race goers and also the jockeys and trainers, they all want it. The atmosphere makes it. I think ITV did a great job in covering the meeting, and I think one of the best news that came out of it is that ITV are covering the Breeders' Cup. It's going to be so good. And Jack and I are going to announce a really great video for the Breeders' Cup probably later in the year, but we've got a real good plan for that video. So I think that'll be my top 3 moments. Jack, your third moment of the meeting?
It would have to be Indy Angel winning the Duke of Cambridge. I mean, I'd stuck with her for a couple of times now after the promise she showed at Lingfield last year. And I mean, she did it in some style, didn't she? She got a brilliant run into it for Frankie down the near side. Got into a lovely rhythm and kicked away. I mean, especially for her to do it 22-1, eh? To start off with a 22-1 winner before it all went downhill from there. But I mean, she travelled like a dream, kicked away, and I mean, it was great to see her do it.
Yep, and we'll get on to my nap of the meeting, how she did in a moment. But we'll just quickly go through the days individually and just some of the highlights. Day 1, Palace Pier win the Queen Anne, Berkshire Shadow win the Coventry, Oxted beating Batash in the King's Stand, and Poetic Flare in the St James's Palace. I think the main thing that we'll discuss about here, Jack, is Palace Pier and Poetic Flare. There is a chance that these two could meet on the South Downs in the Sussex Stakes. Now, it's not a guarantee. Palace Pier could potentially go to the Prix Jacques Lamar that the horse did last year. Now,
good pronunciation.
It's not bad, yeah. I mean, I studied French a little bit, but I do think Palace Pier may go there. I think, especially on good firm ground, that you may get late July. I'm not sure whether the track will suit Palace Pier compared to Poetic Flare. I think this horse is very serious. Will get some weight allowance as well as a 3-year-old, and I definitely think if they did turn up, I'd take Palace Pier on with Poetic Flare. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree, especially if you look at the prices now. I think you got 5-2 about Poetic Flare and nearly evens with Palace Pier, especially with the thought that Palace Pier might not go there, and especially as we had last year, that ground was fast. It was like concrete last year at Goodwood. I mean, we'll go on to the St James, the St James's Palace 4th and the actual Sussex Stakes winner, who it's going to be at a serious price in a bit. But I mean, Poetic Flare's got a good chance, and I just hope they both turn up.
Yeah, we really do. And we had a big vibe about the Sussex Stakes last year, the quality that it could have produced. It did produce a quality race, but prior to it, there was even better horses in the race. It could have been serious. And even if St Mark's Basilica were to come for that race, well, we don't 100% know, but imagine how good those three would be in that race. But we can only hope and dream. We'll get on to day 2 now. Some of the highlights: Quick Susie and the Queen Mary, Kamari won the Queen's Vase, Indy Angel, the Duke of Cambridge. Obviously, Jack just mentioned that 22-1 tipped up by himself. Love winning the Prince of Wales. It wasn't Lord North, but Lord North didn't run, so it doesn't matter. Dave O'Keefe can be quiet. And Real World hacking up in the Royal Hunt Cup. That was a real serious performance. In terms of my highlight, it had to be Love. Love was there to be beaten. I think as they turned in, it looked like at one stage she was going to be beaten. Daria ran a massive race. I'll discuss her towards the back end of the video. But I think it was a real serious performance. The horse battled well, and I do think that Love is going to come on a hell of a lot for that run. And it's a serious bunch of fillies going towards the arc at the moment. And I'm going to ask you a question. I think day 4, day 5, I'm going to ask you a really good question and see what you come up with. But I do think that Love is a real serious horse. Great to see her perform like that. Shame we didn't see Lord North. It would have been a real excellent clash. I'm not sure whether Lord North may have beaten her. I don't know how you stand on that. But do you reckon Lord North would have beaten her, or was she just seriously impressive?
Yeah, I do. I think his turn of foot would have been absolutely electric, like we saw last year. I mean, it was kind of course, he showed a great attitude, but I think Lord North, after what he showed in Maidan, it's a shame he didn't go there, because I think he would have taken all the beating. I mean, Love didn't put it to bed, let's say. I mean, of course, she was on reappearance, but I think it was definitely Lord North's for the beating. Yeah,
and one of my horses to follow comes from day 2, but I'll discuss that in a minute, and that comes from the Queen's Vase, but we'll get onto that in a bit. Day 3, the highlights: Mohafef, Hampton Court winner, Loving Dream beating Noon Star, reverse form from Worcester in the Ribblesdale. I might give Noon Star one more chance back at a 1.25 miles, but we'll have to see. And Subjectivist takes down Stradivarius, which was the big race of the week, winning the Gold Cup. Let's get on to this now, because Andrew Halligan's probably watching the video right now, smug as anything. I joined him on the finishing line last night and I had to walk off camera. It got that bad. But no, look, a really serious performance. Mark Johnson's front-running tactics just worked an absolute dream. But a lot of people slating the ride aboard Stradivarius from Frankie. What do we make of this race?
A head scratcher. That's what it is. I mean, it's hard to know, isn't it? Because is Stradivarius the force of old? I still think he could have made up more ground than he did. But then again, you do have to question it, because he was... You don't know what he was thinking. Is it Aram Naveen was getting trapped? I mean, he was bustled along, wasn't he? hustled and bustled along, and by then the race was gone. I mean, obviously when Frankie gets into his drive late on, sometimes I don't usually find that much because you can tell when the race is. He can tell when the race is gone. But I mean, I'd have to see the Goodwood Cup to kind of either enforce that or reverse that form before I take too much out of it. But don't get me wrong, Subjectivist was a serious performance.
Yeah, round 2 is going to be a real serious clash. I think Frankie's definitely going to be a lot closer to Subjectivist in the Goodwood Cup. I think Aram Naveen, if you watch it back, Frankie does take an absolute clattering off Aram Naveen. I'm not sure what was quite going on. Stradivarius on the inside rail, far back, and he was caught up in between horses that you knew weren't going to be getting home, and you knew they were going to drop back from the front. And it was a real, like Jack said, it was a real head scratcher. But everyone wants to see Stradivarius bounce back. I think it's going to be a real close race on the Downs. I actually do. I don't think it will be as clear as that. I think it's going to be a real battle in the final couple of furlongs. But I'm looking forward to that. I think Loving Dream was really impressive to beat Noon Star, reverse that form on that day. And Mohafef is a horse I haven't got down to note, but I think that horse might go to Goodwood. And I think that horse might end up in the Gordon Stakes.
Oh, really?
I've put that down as a potential target, a mile 4 as a Group 3. I don't think it was a Group 1 winning performance. I do think it's a Group 2, Group 3 performance. So I've actually put that down as a potential target for that horse, but we'll have to see what Haggis does with it. Going on to day 4, and Haggis had probably one of the most impressive winners of the week, and a horse that I doubted a little bit prior to the video that we did, the preview, but I thought was very, very good, and the soft ground definitely helps this horse, and that was Alan Kerr in the King Edward VII Stakes. Campanelle versus Dragon Symbol in the Commonwealth Cup, a very interesting battle. Alcohol Free in the Coronation Stakes, and they were the 3 sort of main races. Now, before we get on to the big topic, let's start off with Alcohol Free, the horse that was napped up by myself at 11-1 on our top 3 bets. I think shortened up to about 9-8-1 during the previews. Oshin went and backed me up. The horse was ill during the Guinea, still ran 5th. And produced a hell of a performance and stayed the mile, Jack. What can you say?
I mean, first of all, fair play. Credit where credit is due. You won a weak Coronation Stakes, which is fair enough. But Primo Baccio, taken out on the day. The nap, not obviously my nap of the week, but I'm not talking from my pocket, I promise. Beat Snow Lantern by 5 lengths, of course, at York. Alcohol Free by 1. I mean, I'd like to see it again on normal ground. I mean, even on that ground, I think Primo Baccio wins running rings around them. But I mean, credit where credit's due, and Primo Baccio is still the best mile filly in the country.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, Alcohol Free, I'll be totally honest, I don't think Alcohol Free is an absolute superstar. Like, I'm not going raving around. I just thought she would win that race after Guineas. I mean, the horse has been shortened up and backed in for the Sussex at 9s, which is a bit interesting. I'm not sure they will go there, but I wouldn't be fancying her in the Sussex at all, even with the fillies allowance. But it was a great run from her. Now, the big topic, and it was a really great discussion with the lads from the finishing line last night, and that was Campanelle versus Dragon Symbol. Dragon Symbol first past the post, Campanelle wins the race. I mean, the horse was... Dragon Symbol went across 7 lanes, roughly. That's what they looked at. Frankie went into the steward's room. He's got to defend his case, said it was 8 to 12 lanes. Now, it was fascinating because Dragon Symbol, having run in a straight line, I think would have beaten Campanelle with ease. I think the best horse... Yeah, I do. I think the best horse should have won that was Dragon Symbol. Now, it was an interesting ride from Oshin because he switched his hands 3 times. And I know that Tom was saying that it was a bit of a poor ride from Oshin. One of his worst rides of the week. And it was really fascinating because he switched his... I think he was in the right hand with a furlong and a half to go, which was absolutely fine. The horse still kind of drifted to the right. Then Oshin switched to the left hand, which would usually encourage a horse to go right, which happened. Then just in probably the final few strides, Oshin pulled the whip back through right hand, and the horse did pull it back away from Campanelle, which was fascinating. Where do you stand on this? Because I don't think the rules are clear enough, and we don't know the rules enough. I mean, in France, I think it's a lot clearer, and in America, I think it's a lot clearer with regards to the rules of racing. In this country, I don't think we know enough. There was plenty of differences in opinions when there probably shouldn't have been.
If I'm being honest, I think officiating in every kind of sport, spectators don't know enough. We look at VAR, we look at different rules of different sports, and we always say it's clouded. But I do think the right decision was made. I think it was the fact that Dragon Symbol went into Campanelle not once, not twice, and I think it was 3 times there was a little bustle before the whip was changed hands. And I do think that Oshin will be annoyed with it. Because 100%. I agree with you. I think Dragon Symbol was definitely the best in the race.
Yeah.
But obviously got it taken off him fair and square. I think Campanelle deserved the race, but of course I think Dragon Symbol was the better of the two.
There we go, a couple of differences in opinion. Let us know down in the comments who you think should have won that race, because it was a real fascinating one. I know a lot of people are umming and ahhing over what should have happened, but we'll go on to day 5, where I think we saw possibly the most impressive 2-year-old performance we've seen all year, and that was from Point Longsdale in the Chesham Stakes. Shortened up, I think the biggest price you'll get is around 18s, the shortest maybe around 12s, 14s for the 2,000 guineas. Now, what's fascinating about Point Longsdale is this horse is out of Australia. So this horse is bred to stay, and potentially a Derby horse for the future, and obviously the guineas could be on the horizon as well. But Australians don't often perform at this time of the year. But Australia didn't himself, and looking at the horse will fill out the frame. Doesn't look fully ready, but was very, very impressive. Novice in the final furlong, but this horse has a hell of a lot of ability, Jack.
Yeah, but for me, I'm kind of taking everything Aidan O'Brien does in the Cheshire with a pinch of salt, because he has such a good record there, and B, Battleground won it last year. Didn't train on. I know has trained on, actually, tell a lie, but of course was quite disappointing in the early season. Of course he's by Warfront, very different, but I don't know. I kind of have to take the 2-year-old form there with a pinch of salt. I think the 2-year-old form that we've seen over in France is perhaps a little bit better than we've seen over here at the moment. Yeah,
maybe. I think it could turn out to be a smart race. I mean, a lot of people I know were aboard Matakela. Even ITV said that that Oshin had said it was his best ride of the week, and a lot of people would have backed that horse. I have actually caught up with Oshin since, who said the horse will be given a little bit of time, but they think he's very, very smart. So I do think that race could turn out to be quite good, the Cheshire this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the horse, even the Queen's horse who finished second, who finished well clear, I think that horse could be really smart for the Gosdens as well. You had Creative Force win the Jersey, and then Wonderful Tonight and in the Hardwick and Dream of Dreams in the Diamond Jubilee. Dream of Dreams didn't really get me too jiggy, I'll be totally honest. It's not a horse that gets me too excited, but really good for Michael Stout. 7-year-old, such a typical Stout performance with this horse. An older horse, still improving, but maybe it's hit the level now, but still winning a Group 1 at that age is very, very impressive. And Wonderful Tonight, Jack's already made the case this, so I'm not going to go into this too much, and she was really, really impressive. Probably the second best performance underneath Poetic Flair for the week. But here's your question, right? Snowfall, Love, Wonderful Tonight, Tarnawa, Good to Soft Ground in the Arc. Who wins?
I think Good to Soft, it would be Tarnawa. I think Wonderful Tonight does need it bottomless, and of course when it's bottomless, I wouldn't be surprised if Love and all the others decide to pull out, and then I think Wonderful Tonight has a great chance, but I think you've got to be looking at soft to heavy for her to properly put herself in contention.
100%, but it's going to be a hell of a race, and don't forget the Colts that could end up there, Derby winner, and there's plenty of horses out in France who are going to make a case as well, but really, really excited about the Arc this year. Who knows? We may end up out there, but we never know. We never know. We'll see what restrictions say. But we will wait for Paris Longchamp to send us that invite. But that's it in terms of the racing. We're going to get on to our 5 horses to note from the week. I've got 5. I don't know how many Jack's got, but I'll kick things off and just briefly go through my 5. The first one I go through is Audaria, who finished second to Love. Like I mentioned, the horse was very, very good, and I thought came with a winning run at one stage. I think this horse may go to the Nassau next. I think 1.25 miles could potentially be where this horse stands, and could potentially be taking on the Diane winner, Joan of Arc, because I've heard that horse there may be ending up in the Nassau as well. So fascinated there. Poetic Flair, the best winner of the week. I think good firm ground in Sussex. I really think that he'll be winning, but we discussed that a moment ago. Dragon Symbol, July Cup winner. That is what I've got written down after that race. 8-1 for that race. Archie Watson, justice will be done. You will be winning your Group 1 at Newmarket in the July Cup. I'm really excited. On good ground, I think this horse is going to really, really perform. I'm surprised he performed so well on soft ground, so God knows what this horse is going to be like on good ground. Wordsworth was one of the horses that I found really fascinating in the Queen's Vase. Now, last year, the Queen's Vase was won by Santiago. And obviously that was a great winning performance. Now this horse Wordsworth stayed on really well. Potentially not Ryan Moore's best ride of the week. I think the winner Kamari was very special. Obviously can't go to the Ledger because Kamari is a gelding. But Wordsworth has the potential to go to the Ledger. I think around 10-1 for that race. Now Santiago after this race went to the Goodwood Cup, claimed, and then went to the Ledger. I don't know. I think they might go for the same route with Wordsworth. I think they might supplement him for the Goodwood Cup, and he'll have the allowance. I don't think he'll have a chance against them, but potentially they'll test him over the 2 miles and then go to the Ledger. So Aidan might take that route with that horse. And then the last one that I've got written down is King's Lynn. I think we both agreed with this after the race. And obviously he ran in the King's Stand and the Wokium during the week. And God, he had a nightmare run in the Wokium. No clear run, switched left. No clear run there, switched right. and then he ran on really well towards the finish. I do think the winner, Rohan, is really, really smart, by the way, and I think he might be going to the July Cup as well, from what I've heard. So it could be a really exciting clash with the likes of Oxted and Dream of Dreams also going there. But they're going to be my 5 horses to note. And for Jack, your 5 horses.
Yeah, well, I'll start off with King's Lynn as well, because he got so unlucky. He was also very unlucky in the King's Stand. I mean, Rashid said he had a sleepless night after that when the pace collapsed and he couldn't quite get through. I mean, King's Lynn so clearly a Group horse in a handicap. We saw that. I wouldn't be surprised if he does win a Group 2, maybe even a Group 1 this year. I think he's quite special, and Ryan and Oshin both couldn't quite get to grips with him. So is he a tough rider? Is he going to be a hard luck story for this year? Who knows? I mean, the first one I'm going to start with is the 4th in the St James's Palace, and that's Maximal. Now, Colin Keane was on board, and I thought he's ran an absolute screamer. I mean, he travelled as well as Poetic Flare round the bend. He went 6-4 in play. And I'm not just saying this because he was my nap of the day. I think he obviously, as I say, he's got stunning form all the way through behind the likes of Hurricane Lane and whatnot. But I do think Amal, he's entered for the Sussex Stakes. Now he's 66-1 at the time of filming for the Sussex Stakes. Now 66-1, I think, is a huge price. He was half a length behind Battleground that day. Battleground 16-1. If that Palace Pier doesn't go as we think he may not, then I think 2nd and 3rd place definitely up for grabs behind Poetic Flare, and the 66-1 place wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I mean, as I say, he travelled like an absolute dreamboat. He didn't quite show the turn of foot as Poetic Flare showed because he probably wants more than a mile, but I think he's definitely one to take out of it. The next is in the Queen Mary. It's Cheer Up Sleepy Jean. Now, she gave away about 3 or 4 lengths from the off. She went off at 50-1, but she rattled home down the near side and finished 3rd on the day. I mean, she finished at 102% finishing speed, which is okay because it was quite truly run. But I mean, she has an entry next week at the Curragh in a Group 2. I'll be interested to see if she does go for that and how she gets on. But I mean, I kind of want to take it with a pinch of salt because she was almost down the Golden Highway, so you don't know if she was flattered perhaps by that. So that'd be interesting to see. The next one is Vadreem, who of course finished 3rd in the Jersey.
Very impressive.
Yeah, finished 3rd in the Jersey against the Colts on not suitable ground. Now I think she's run an absolute screamer. It was a classic. Jamie Spencer gets her into a beautiful rhythm at the rear of the field, and she finishes with a flurry. It'd be nice if she can actually get there on time for once. But I mean, I don't have a clue where they're going to go with her, if I'm being honest. Are they going to send her out to France? Because, of course, she can handle the better ground, but she definitely wants 7. She didn't stay the mile in the 1,000 guineas, so that'd be interesting to see. Next one's Art Power for me. Now, the pace was completely over the far side that day. He had to do it all on his own on the near side, and, of course, he finished 3rd, but I think you can definitely upgrade that performance because he was the only one of the first 7 home who didn't go to the far side group. I really think you can upgrade that performance, and if we do get soft ground for the July Cup, even good soft, I think he's got a cracking chance at 20-1. Of course, he will need that ground. He won't like it good or firm, but I do think if we get it that kind of soft, I think Dragon Symbol and him could have a ding-dong battle in 20-1. He definitely won't be going off 20-1 anyhow. And the last one we've got is Boom Shalar in the Hollywood House Handicap. Now, he wasn't sure to suit the ground that day, got busted along about 2 furlongs out, but again stayed on down the Golden Highway in serious fashion. Finished second overall, and I don't know how much he's going to go up in the handicap, but I think he's going to land a big pot this year on any kind of ground because he showed his ground versatile. So Boom Shalar, and that's the 5 for me.
And there we go, some fascinating horses for you to follow throughout the rest of the season, and that'll be it for our Royal Ascot review. Now, we've got plenty of videos coming your way. We've got the Irish Derby weekend and Northumberland Plate preview coming to you on Thursday. We'll then have our weekend review coming to you the following Tuesday, and then we'll have our Coral Eclipse preview where our winner will be announced for our competition. Remember, just retweet that tweet pinned to our Twitter profile and follow us on Twitter. You've got the likes of boxes of chocolates, signed photo of Oshin, and 2 tickets to one of the Goodwood meetings, the Goodwood finale. I'm even excited myself. The Goodwood finale. You'll come up there with myself and Jack. We'll have a great day up at the races together. Oh, it's the best prize on there. A day out with me and you. Couldn't get any better. But just go retweet that tweet. You've got about 10 days still to enter, and hoping we get plenty of entries into that. And then get the date in your diary, the 25th and 26th of July. Our 2-part Qatar Glorious Goodwood Festival will be coming to you, and we will be filming it up at the Trundle, which have a lovely view of the Goodwood Racecourse. It's a fantastic view from up there. It's going to be a great time to film. I'm hoping we get the weather, Jack.
Let's hope so. I mean, the wind could prove a bit of a problem, but who knows, eh?
It could do, but we're hoping we'll have an excellent preview up there. We'll have some guest videos. We probably won't have them live with us, but we'll probably insert some videos of some guests. Potentially Oshin will get involved and send us a video of some of his rides for the week. But that's going to be it for this week from us. Like I say, join us on Thursday for the Irish Derby and Northumberland Plate preview, and we will see you soon. Thanks for watching.